Good evening and welcome to the Mill Creek Township Municipal Building for the monthly Planning Commission meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting for June 4th of 2024 to order. All please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be sure and sign the attendance sheet near the door. I would like to introduce you to the members of the Planning Committee and our support staff. David Fugate is immediately next to me, and Raymond Reed. We have Tony Sitter over here, and Denise Bizarro, the recording secretary. Behind us, we have Julie Maggio, Assistant Zoning and Development, Matt Puz, Zoning and Development Officer, Matt Waldinger, Zoning and Development Officer, and Jennifer Haniason, Township Council. Before I begin, I would like to call a motion to accept accept the minutes of last month's meeting as written.
Make a motion to accept. Second.
Everything is, do I have to hit the gavel on this?
No.
No. All right. The Mill Creek Planning Commission is a recommendation.
Mr. Chair, did you take a call for a vote?
Call.
Yeah, let me have a call for a vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes? Okay. Motion approved. All right. The Mill Creek Planning Commission is a recommending body that hears testimony and asks and answers questions, deliberates and passes our recommendation on to the Mill Creek supervisors who make the final decision on the issues brought before us. The land development and public improvement discussed tonight, if acted upon by the commission, will be considered by the township at the regular meeting to be held on Tuesday, June 25th at 4:30 p.m. in the township assembly room. The rezoning discussed tonight, if acted upon by the Planning Commission, will be considered by the township supervisors at the regular meeting held on Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. in the Township Assembly Building. In order to keep the flow of information and not have the meeting run unnecessarily long, I ask that everyone wishing to speak either for or against an issue to please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. I may also say that if a point has been made by a speaker and there are others who share the same view, it is not necessary for everybody to come in and speak on the same issue, as the commission will consider all testimony. Okay, all issues having been discussed, we will take a few-minute break before, at the closing of the meeting. Okay. All right. The first thing on the agenda is a subdivision and land development plan for Elevate Church. Elevate Church is a land development plan to show the construction of a 9,540 square foot addition with a proposed concrete and grass area located in the north of the Mill Creek Mall along the west line of Peach Street in tract 348.
Good evening, Mike Sanford, 4721 Atlantic Avenue. And I'm the engineer and surveyor that prepared the land development plan. So it's, as you described, Elevate Church is located at this location. They would like to expand to serve their congregation. Essentially, the addition that we drew is on the northeast corner of the building, kind of the rear and side of the building. And it's 9,540 square feet, like you mentioned. So the land development plan we put forth, we're here tonight to represent. We are complying with your stormwater ordinance by pavement removal. So we are complying with what we call the 50% rule. That's when things get redeveloped, stormwater's owed. But to offset that stormwater that's owed, some existing pavement will be removed, grass areas established, so we're complying with stormwater by pavement removal. And we gave those calculations to the engineering department. When Elevate Church was originally constructed, it's in a commercial district, and it was a permitted use at the time, but your zoning ordinance changed in 2022, and so now they're considered a non-conforming use. So we're here tonight to present our land development plan. We do seek a non-conforming use approval with the zoning hearing board later this month. The building is currently served by public sewer and public water, and it certainly will be after the development as well. But on the southeast corner of the building, as shown on our plan, there's going to have a large outside concrete area, some grass area to recreate on, little canopy. They're going to redo the front entry as well, but that's really the plan. The proposed improvements, Walnut Creek goes along the site on its east and north sides, but this development is all outside the floodplain as plotted by FEMA. So, here tonight to answer any questions you may have.
Do we have any comments? Please come on up.
Are we allowed to ask direct questions to the planner?
Sure, just if you will state your name and your address, though.
Marty Sawyer, 1920 Zimmerly Road. Are you going up any stories?
No. This building is essentially almost a two-story building, but it's visual look, and the addition is of similar height.
And in your budget for the square footage addition, is there anything in the budget about soundproofing or sound barriers for this?
I'm a surveyor and engineer, I don't know about building construction. I work with the size of the building and how I do land planning, so I can't speak to the building construction.
And that's not been part of the submission that Elevate Church has given to you about any of the sound concerns? No. Because we can hear them. I'm on Zimmerly Road, just on the other side of the creek, and we can hear their services and their rehearsals. And now I'm afraid with the addition of outdoor space, there was at one time speakers mounted on the roof of the building, so we could hear all of that being carried across into what is essentially a bird sanctuary, and as you pointed out, Walnut Creek hiking area and recreation area. And I guess that was really my question, was about soundproofing. The addition that's being put on, is that for worship? Are they moving the worship area in the building?
No, the worship area is not moving. It's my understanding this is, I'll say classroom space. The architect is here, and he can answer that question, what the use is. Do you guys want to answer that question?
I'm Martin McCormick, the president of MGM General Construction Corporation. We're the general contractor for the project. As it stands right now, the building use, we're putting in additional space. We call it multi-use space. The intention is to have younger people involved with the church. So there'll be pickleball, basketball, that type of thing inside the building. And on the outside, we want to put in a grassy area so that people could congregate there on the nice days. At the moment, there is nothing in our plan as far as sound deadening for that area. Is that right, Rod? Okay. Well, we can certainly take a look at it. We'll see what our options are.
That's been a big concern for...
Yeah, go ahead.
That's really my concern. I'm glad that, you know, congregation is growing or whatever, but they do have a service on Saturday nights and 3 on Sunday. They rehearse once a week. They start rehearsal at Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. They rehearse at the same volume that they worship in. I'll call it worship. It's kind of like an entertainment venue. I think some of the speakers have been moved in the last year per a request, but that is really my concern, is that the additional building space is going to add to the volume that carries throughout the neighborhood. It really is a concern. I, at one time, could hear it inside my house with my doors and windows closed. So,
Did that problem go away after you addressed it with them?
I think to a certain extent, they had to bring in their professional lighting and sound engineers from North Carolina to maybe place speakers on the floor or something, but no, we can still hear them. So it's, I've sent multiple letters, so that is a concern when you're putting on 9,000 square feet additional, that they're going to have additional services, then that would create more noise or additional rehearsals, or I don't know what their intent is for the outdoor space for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments? Good, no more comments?
Thank you.
Let's move to the second, the rezoning of Dennis M. Dolan and Mikovic LLC for properties located along the Edinburgh Road and addressed as 2226, 2240, 2250 Edinburgh Road, and Rinderley SS Drive, now zoned R1 Single Family Residential, asking for the parcels to be classified at MU2 Corridor Mixed Use. Who's here to speak?
That would be me.
Okay.
My name is Dennis Dolan. I'm also the sole owner of McCavick LLC. And I have a little PowerPoint presentation here. This is an overview. Each of you has a printed packet that you can follow along with here if it's easier for you to see. The first part of the overview just shows the location of the subject properties relative to the larger area. First one being Mall and so forth, and this is it. Second picture zooms in just a little bit more and shows it relative to the Mill Creek Marketplace. And the third zooms in further to show the actual subject property. This is the current zoning according to the new future land use map adopted during the Embrace Mill Creek a number of years ago. And you can see in the highlighted area or the outlined area the subject property again. The next slide shows former zoning of this property prior to the Embrace Mill Creek. And you can see that parts of my property and parts of other properties in this general area had C2 zoning that was taken away, actually. So there was C2 zoning on both ends of the block, and there was you can't really see it at the bottom, but there was some C1 across the street. By way of a little bit of history and summary, all 6 acres are currently zoned R1. Portions of the property were formerly C2 and R4. Most of the adjacent properties, or many of the adjacent properties, are currently zoned C2. And most of the rear line, if you look at the previous the one back from this, you can see our rental properties that I believe are owned by the Baldwins. And all of these properties front on State Route 99, Edinburgh Road. A little bit of history. Back in 2014, I requested rezoning to what was then called Commercial 4 or C4. And the Planning Commission at that time did vote to recommend for that change, but the supervisors voted against it, citing major concerns of traffic congestion along interchange and Zimmerly Road all the way to Peach Street. Those problems have subsequently been addressed and resolved with major improvements that were done along Interchange Road, the widening of the bridge over the creek, the improvement of the I-79 interchange, and also improvements at Edinburgh Road and Peach Street intersections. Then, in late 2017, I submitted a request to rezone the property to C2. At that time, the Planning Commission tabled my decision, or tabled their decision pending the release of the new comprehensive plan and future land use map and the PennDOT Route 99 corridor study. Subsequent to the publication of that corridor study and the new comprehensive plan and future land use map, the Planning Commission on March 5th, 2019, voted 5-2 to recommend the rezoning to the C2 commercial. And that was, again, after the new future land use map came out. So in spite of that, they recommended for. Supervisors once again voted against, at that time citing too much commercial zoning in the township already. In a Times article, the Supervisor Morgan at the time stated that he will oppose the rezoning because the township's new Embrace Mill Creek plan recommends a reduction of commercial districts in the township. He also said, according to the comprehensive plan, we should support more residential and mixed-use zoning and reduce commercial zones. Yet, in the same comprehensive plan and future land use map, numerous properties within a half-a-mile radius along Zimmerly Road and at the I-79 interchange were changed from residential to corridor commercial, or corridor mixed use, I should say, which is a form of hybrid commercial residential, which is the same that I'm asking for. So while there was the statement that there's too much commercial, and they turned me down, and you can see in the following slide here that all of the properties with X's were formerly zoned residential and were changed to mixed use corridor. Mixed use 2. So it's a little illogical and inconsistent, I believe, especially since my properties are located on a state road along Route 99. Moving from the past to the present, instead of the C4 that I asked for in the first place, the C2 that I asked for last time, this time my current request is to a lower level of rezoning to the MU2, which is a mixed use, of course, which allows for both some commercial and various residential as well. So I'm asking for less than I've asked the 2 times that I was recommended for in the past. The MU2 in this location, located between the C2 and the R1, creates a logical transition as opposed to the current stark transition right from the C2 to R1. Again, the subject properties are all on the State Road 99. Significant portions of it are already bordered by C2. Portions of the rear that are not bordered by the C2 are the Baldwin rental properties. And the properties across Route 99 are zoned medium density residential, R3. But you can see if you go back to the one of the first slides here. So what we have is commercial, moderate density residential, and then we have my subject property. I contend that the single-family residential doesn't make sense along Route 99. Also, The route, or the PennDOT corridor study suggests that the land use in the Hershey Road and Edinburgh Road corridor is a growth area and has suggested a lot of improvements like road widening and intersection work. The land in Summit Township, just across the line, less than a half a mile away, is almost all commercial or industrial zoning already. And for what it matters, the county future land use plan shows the property and surrounding areas as designated growth areas. In my opinion, the suggestion that Mill Creek has too much commercial property is largely a subjective judgment. I contend that demand should dictate what the zoning will work, as long as that proposed use is not otherwise detrimental to the township and the immediate area. And there's certainly no shortage of the need for more jobs, more business and property tax, which this would generate if it were changed. So finally, this is the final result of what I'm requesting, where you see the portion, the property I own would then be MU2. So that's all I have, folks. And thank you for listening, and I appreciate you taking the time. Any questions? Sorry.
Love the last slide. Love the last slide.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have
I
any
got-
comments from the audience? It does not matter, whatever you want to do.
Good evening, my name is Michael Agresti, 300 State Street, Suite 300, Erie, PA, 16507. I represent Mill Creek Marketplace LLC. Those are the properties that were referred to as Baldwin properties along Rinderby Road. Those are residential properties that are rented to families and other individuals for residential purposes. While I appreciate the effort, it's an excellent presentation, somewhat suggesting that lawyers aren't needed for planning commission meetings. Well done. We do object to this rezoning. There's a number of reasons for this. I'll start with the comprehensive plan. I came before the zoning hearing board and the supervisors when the plan was being finalized, and I know how much work went into that. I was critical of it on some issues, and we worked through those issues with the township in a very collaborative way to come up with the final zoning that occurred just 2 years ago. And I would suggest that this area was not overlooked. It was probably the most looked at area in Mill Creek, besides maybe West 26th Street and obviously the Peninsula Presque Isle Gateway area. This was an area that was certainly contemplated a lot. And had the township thought that this was a good idea to have commercial continue to go down Route 99 south, they would have done so. They very easily could have done so. They chose not to, and I think that's very telling. I understand Mr. Dolan's desire to try to maximize the value of his property. I don't begrudge the man for that at all. But it has to stop at some point. The commercial zoning has to stop at some point. And just given the topography, and we've all driven through this area, this seems like the logical stopping point. Rinderley Drive, where it intersects with 99, seems like the logical stopping point. Kind of go up a hill, you're getting away, getting out of that commercial area. If we change this to MU2, while that's certainly lighter than the commercial uses just down the road, it's still pretty heavy. I mean, you've got uses in MU2 that are significant. They will make noise. They will create traffic. They will most certainly disrupt the residential nature of all of these homes here, all of these homes along here, and these two properties right here for certain. I know that major changes were done down here, and and they're helpful, but that's not going to help the traffic count. If there's businesses up there on the top of that hill, more traffic's going to go up there, and it's going to disrupt the residential nature of 99 from this point south, pretty much all the way to Hershey Road. There is some industry, there is a car dealership, I understand that. That's sort of like a little island as you get in between those two spots. The rest of it's all residential. And I would have done the same thing Mr. Dolan did. I would have shown a picture of all that commercial to the north. It's compelling. The problem is you got to show the rest that's south of it. It's all green and residential. So there is a need to find a spot where you stop. And I think Mill Creek found that when they did their last zoning. So we just don't think this is a good idea. We think that it will disrupt and cause problems for the residential use, and it's not within the comprehensive plan. So I think that Mill Creek should, unfortunately, sir, I think they should continue to deny his requests that have been denied on multiple occasions now. So thank you for your time, and I'm glad to answer any questions if you have any.
I have a question, a couple questions, actually. You defend that this would cause a lot more traffic and disruption, and that I didn't really address things to the south, actually. I did, which, you know, in saying that all of Summit, everywhere from just past Spring Hill or even part of Spring Hill, is all zoned already business or industrial. And there's the car lot, there's the multi-use, what is the commercial and residential area up there. I don't think that the amount of likely traffic in this particular case is going to be that significant compared to what's already there and what more is probably going to already go there in spite of anything that happens to my property. So I just think that while you have a point about the transition and, you know, to say that it was a sort of like a logical one, topography-wise, you have to take into consideration that this area here was all cut out in the mid. So the idea that this is up on a hill is sort of, it's true, but it's artificial. So I quite honestly think that a reasonable place to cut it off is here. You still have lots and lots of green and residential throughout the rest of the section of Mill Creek.
I appreciate that point. I didn't hear a question, but I'll address it just quickly. It's obvious, but you all can't control what Summit does and how they decide they want to do their zoning. You may not agree with what they've done further south on 99. You may, I don't know. But you know, your job, frankly, is to carry out the comprehensive plan. And as I've already stated, if the comprehensive plan wanted this to be commercial, it would have been. And I don't know how much extra traffic there'll be, but I can tell you that if you put a restaurant or a convenience store or a recreational facility or an eating and just drinking establishment or light industry manufacturing, all of those will increase traffic to some extent. I can't tell you how much because I have no idea what you're going to put in there or what you could put in there. I just know the range of things, the 37 things that you can under MU2, and they all involve more traffic. So I'll leave it at that unless anybody has a question.
Does anybody else have any more comments?
Lorraine Dolan. Lorraine Dolan, I live in, what did you want, the address?
Yes.
I just wanted to reiterate that this was approved twice by the Planning Commission, the first time and then the second time by a greater majority. And there was one person who really stood in the way of this going through, and he's no longer a Mill Creek Township supervisor.
I'm sorry, I forgot to give my name and address.
You got it.
You need that.
We got it. Any other comments? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mary Lou Betcher. I live at 6004 Moraine Drive. My husband and I bought our home 42 years ago on Moraine Drive. My neighbor has been there even longer, 48 years. We worked 24/7 to build up that house for ourselves and our family. Doing something like this, I mean, it's hard enough to get out on Enbow Road now. Sometimes it takes me 10 minutes to get out there, and that's just with what's going on now. Now, we've lived with everything that used to be woods, where Giant Eagle is and the hotel. Our kids grew up in that woods, you know. We've lived with all of that. But to come farther on, the value of all of our homesteads is going to go so far down. We've worked half of our life, 3/4 of our life, to build it up. And it's just going to go down. Between the lighting and the noise and the traffic, there's grandkids all over the place. Nobody's going to want to come there anymore. And like, I don't even know how they would do it with the different elevations. You're coming down a hill, you're going straight a little ways, you're coming up a hill. All of those houses are on different elevations. So just to construct anything like that, and the lighting, it's going to be right in front of our house. We can see lighting from down where the hotel is. You know, that's just kitty corner for us. But this is going to be right across from us. It's just going to destroy, I would say, 15, 20 homesteads. So I might need my husband to help me with this one, because I'm not good at maps. So,
Yeah.
I have 4 acres.
so we have, this is Moraine, and
My
we're right in
property,
here.
my property is right here.
Yeah, it comes, yeah, and it comes around 4 acres. This one right here is tapped in. So this one we get as ours. It's right in here, and it comes back a little bit farther. So this here is right directly across the street from us, the end of this here. And, I just, you know, it's just not going to be good for, it's going to be very detrimental. And I don't understand. I mean, there's so many vacant lots, like right across the bridge. There's rezoned lots that nobody's doing anything with. I mean, you walk into the Mill Creek Mall and it's like a ghost town. There's nothing going on except at Boscov's. That's it. Red Lobster just closed. There's all the hotels you could ever need in that area. There's gas stations, there's restaurants. You can walk to any one of them within minutes. Just don't understand. And with Palermo's development, that was never there when we moved in. That's right up on the hill. And there's so many houses up there, and then there's apartments down farther, and then he developed more. I know he's got a bakery out front and a couple other things, and there's a lot of housing behind there. I can't see how we need one more thing. It's just going to destroy our area that we have built up our whole life.
Thank you. Yeah, let's have everybody else come up.
Good evening, all. My name is Blake Parmenter. I live at 6080 Moraine Drive.
What was your first name?
Blake.
Blake, all right.
Right on the corner here. I used to be one of the commercial zone properties. I had no problem losing the commercial zoning because it's a home. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, and we bought it to start our family in. And I have a 2-year-old daughter, and the neighbors just down the road from me, they have 3 young children also. And we get a lot of traffic already from, I think it's the Giant Eagle parking lot there, because you're not allowed to turn left towards interchange. You have to turn up right. So that becomes like kind of a roundabout way to get back around to make a left-hand turn onto 99. So we get a lot of traffic, and that's just going to be your passenger cars. We already have some light industry up the road, and some truck drivers make mistakes from time to time, and that is a hairpin corner I can tell you right now. So that we get some semis locked up down there. And even right here is a decently raised part of the road. So we get semis that'll high center and block 99 sometimes. Another concern with traffic there is, I did a small time study today, just at 4 o'clock, before traffic even really picked up. To make a right-hand turn to turn southbound on 99, it would take an average of me from 45 seconds to a minute to make that turn. If I wanted to turn across traffic, that goes up to like 3 to 4 minutes to get that. And the traffic heading northbound is going downhill and is usually going fast. The intersection just up the road in front of Spring Hill is very dangerous. There's usually a handful of wrecks a year. I was not able to find any information on the actual count of wrecks a year, but there's quite a few. My argument against that is that Edinburgh Road is a 2-lane. If this could maybe work if they made it wider, but I haven't heard of any projects like that. Interchange Road widening works because it is 4-lane wide. There's not really much residential on there. Another concern of mine is just like the wildlife and game in general. It's a great neighborhood to live in because we're just far enough away from town that we can actually get to see, birds and deer and turkey and all sorts of wildlife, which is very cool. But as Mr. Agresti said earlier, like where is it going to stop? You guys can't control what Summit does. I drove around the Copperleaf development earlier today, and it seems like half of the available spaces they have for shops are empty right now. I think it was about half. I wasn't able to tell even the apartments, the occupancy. I called, they weren't willing to give me what their occupancy rate was. There wasn't a whole lot of cars there, and I've driven past there quite a bit. So the need for this to be rezoned, to be developed, I don't see. And I'm trying to be open-minded about it, especially if it was something like a church or something that could benefit our neighborhood. But out of these 39 things that it could be, there's not a whole lot that I think would benefit our neighborhood. It is a neighborhood. I mean, I think most of us are here right now, so that should hopefully say something.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Again, just to mention, do come up. But if somebody's already stated something about the traffic and things like that, if you can just bring up the things that are new,
Okay.
that are any problem, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. My name is Jessica Harpster, and I live at 2350 Rinderley Drive. I've lived there for 14 years, and like Mary Lou said, I'm a single mom. I've put all my effort into that house. It's the only investment I have for me and my children. And as he said these are all rented. That is not true. I live right here, and I own my home, and my neighbors right here, they own their home too.
Only the other 4 that they showed us rented.
Oh, okay. Yeah, these 4 are, but we're still on the street right here. Another concern I have is my children take the bus right at Edinburgh Road and Rinderley Drive. And I don't like them being on 99. Trust me, I've tried to get them to switch it. But because the hills are so steep going up and down Rinderley and up and down Moraine Drive, the buses can't do that. So my children do have to take the bus right there on that corner, and I'm concerned about the busyness. And I mean, just even with, the houses were there like before the hotel, and the hotel's right behind us, and it is a nuisance. I mean, we've made many complaints, and they don't do anything about it. The noises, the bus is sitting there running for hours at night in the parking lot. So I just can't imagine what it would be like for us if we had that business right there also.
Where's the noise coming from now?
Right behind us.
Okay, all right,
At the hotel there.
okay.
Yeah. So it's very new. I mean, we've called the cops, we've reported it, and they have no consideration with noise ordinance, and it's very disturbing. So I can't imagine having even more
And then they
things
have
going
enough
on.
buffer zone there, but it's not enough for you.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? One more head, go ahead.
Thank you. Again, I'd like to point out that for the most part, the subject property I'm talking about doesn't border anywhere near Ray Drive. There's a considerable difference in the distance between the two border my property. Plus, there would be a required township buffer area along any residential area. So there's a 25 or 30-foot buffer that would be required. So only a very small portion of the property here actually borders any homeowner. That would be this homeowner right here. Yes, there's always the potential for more traffic, and there is going to be more traffic. It's just, across the street, it's zoned R4. I don't know if it's still a thing, but there was going to be a big apartment complex put in right over here. I don't know what the status of that is, but that's going to cause more traffic. And all of this is zoned R4 over here, so that's going to make more traffic. When this C2 is developed over here, that's going to make more traffic. It's going to happen, and some of it's going to happen. And in the corridor study that PennDOT did, they recommended making improvements to Edinburgh Road, not into a four-lane, but putting sense of turn lanes on, which would even help right now. So there is some information that suggests that there can be improvements. But again, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I grew up in that neighborhood, by the way, so I'm very familiar.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Again, Lorraine Dolan, I just want to say that all of these concerns were addressed in previous commission meetings, and this was still approved in previous commission meetings. The property value, the bus stop, all of these things were discussed and taken into consideration. And as far as what my husband is requesting, he is bent over backwards to make this as amenable to neighbors as possible. And he's reduced his request a number of times, even though it has been approved twice by the Planning Commission.
Thank you. Go ahead.
John Plasiniak, 2272 Edinburgh Road. I'm the last lot over here. Now, at this point, it's basically a horseshoe. And he wants and there's 3 houses there that are rented by long-term renters. He might displace them, but they've been there like a decade, each one of them, so it's no hardship where it's a dilapidated buildings or something like he wants to tear down. And just ruining half of that horseshoe and leaving the other 2 people out to hang out, this doesn't seem like a wise thing to do either. With all the other houses on the back, behind them houses is a cliff where they dug it out. So they're stuck. It's always going to be a house. And they can't do anything else with it, unless you want to put a little key shop or something like that, if they still have them. So that's that.
Thank you. All right. That's it with the comments? All right, at this time, we're going to close the meeting.
Mr. Cabea?
Yes.
We do have the extension of the Glenwood Park Avenue sanitary sewer line.
That's in new business.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't,
Yeah, but we're just closing the meeting.
sorry about that.
Yeah, but I'm new at this, too. All right. All issues have been discussed, and we will now take a few minutes to deliberate. You're welcome to stay for this portion of the meeting, but no further discussions will be accepted. The recommendations of the commission will be available to all concerned parties after 8 a.m. tomorrow by calling the Township Planning and Development. Thank you. Did we want to take a break, or do you want to just get into it? just get into it. Okay, I'm ready. All right. Okay, let's look at the Elevate Church Land Development Plan. Oh, do we
I'm
run,
only here for questions.
say again?
I'm here for questions if there's
Okay,
anything.
all right, okay.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, if this motion would be in order, because there are issues going before the Zoning Hearing Commission with the Elevate Church project, I would make a motion to table at this time.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's tabled. All right, the rezoning, Dennis M. Dolan and okay, all right. All right, do I have a motion?
With discussion or anything?
Go ahead.
For discussion.
Yeah, open for discussion.
Mr. Dolan, first let me compliment you on your presentation. That was one of the, most complete presentations, no matter how the commission votes for the recommendation. I just wanted to make that note for you. I'm keenly aware of residential concerns of ambient lighting, flooding into properties, and noise. And I don't know what happened with the new ordinances. I don't know what it has to do with the type of lights now, the LED lights, but there are ordinances on the books that require limitation on lighting, and it's not enforced in Mill Creek. I don't know what's happening with that enforcement. I don't know if it's on a case-by-case complaint basis, but I think now it's just like with headlights of cars, how bright headlights of cars are compared to old headlights. I don't know if the ordinance took into consideration the new type of lighting is there. But the developers are going in and putting lighting that certainly bleeds into 2 or 3 properties away that cause tremendous burden upon residential neighborhoods abutting commercial properties. And I'm keenly aware, firsthand basis of this. And so I'm going to really take the concerns of the neighborhood to heart. Additionally, just from my observations, and it's been repeated here, there are a number of commercial properties vacant within Mill Creek, and as it was cited by one of the residents, you just go up the Copperleaf, and over half the properties up there have been vacant, commercially vacant for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. So I don't know if we need more commercial property right now, even though I appreciate your concerns that you're the property owner there, and you'd like to see it be some type of commercial. But I think that the residential concerns really outweigh some of the advancement to moving this to approval. That's just my position. I'd like to have stated it. Thank you.
Tony, any comments?
I would also like to echo Ray's comments on the presentation. It was a lot to think of, and to be honest, initially I was thinking maybe we should take some more time to think about this. But as I've kind of reviewed it in my own mind, here would be my sense. And in all transparency, my current employer is Spring Hill, just up the street. So part of me wrestled with whether to recuse myself from this vote. But I look at our role as a planning commission, and it is to look at all of Mill Creek, all aspects of it. We make no decisions. It is all up to the supervisors, as you know. I understand citing the historical arguments, but for myself, being newer on the board, this is the time where we have to review this issue again. And I agree, we will see what happens with Route 99 and Summit and that development. But as I look at Mill Creek as a whole plan, it seems that to keep this area more on the residential and not open up to all of the potential uses that would come with the rezoning seems to make sense to me. And probably at the end of the day, the thing that strikes me the most is as I look at those rental properties and the homeowners who still have their houses on Rinderley, that really we're creating, from my perspective, a zoning sandwich in terms of how this development would be. They've got one type of zoning on one side of the, one side of the property. They've got another zoning across the street, and I think that's very problematic. So from my perspective, at this point, I can't support the rezoning, but I wanted to share some of my thoughts.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
I have a motion to deny.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. It's denied. Second? All right. Now we move on to new business, public improvement. The extension of Glenwood Park Avenue sanitary sewer line.
Yes, I can talk about this. The Mill Creek Township is seeking to extend the sewer line for portions of Glenwood Park Avenue by approximately 1,100 linear feet north to an existing manhole in the city of Erie. The sewer line will serve 5 properties along the east line of Glenwood Park Avenue. The intention of the sewer line is to alleviate any issues with current on-lot septic systems. Just to bring this up, one of the goals of the comprehensive plan, Embrace Mill Creek, is for infrastructure improvement, so this is consistent with the goals of the comprehensive plan.
All right, any comments? Nope.
Motion to approve?
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Communications, no communications. We're done. A motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn it is.